All right. Hey, team. Let's bring this music down here and start getting ourselves arranged here. Give me a hot second here to check in on myself. See if I'm going through. Here. Give me a hot second here to check in on myself. Yeah, it sounds like I'm coming through A-OK. Let's go ahead and drop that down there. And we'll finish posting here that we're live. And then we'll fix our screens. So let's see. Guess I should fix my screens up. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we are creating an adventure campaign for Spelljammer using the Dungeons & Dragons 5e rules using the 2024 updates. So we have a book that we've published on DMsGuild already for this stuff. Here, let me fix my screens here. And I'm gonna open up all the stuff that we're gonna make use of today. Here we go. Hey, so let's see. All the stuff that we're using can be referenced down here in our notes. The actual campaign workbench for the Kaiju and Constructs, Eberron Spelljammer Bastion Campaign document. This is what we've been updating. This is the 6th episode of us creating this campaign world between this document and here is our workbench. This is the, let's blip that. This is Eberron. These are the 12 moons that are orbiting Eberron. These are the paths that the moons take in orbit around Eberron. These are 10,000 miles squares. And these are clusters of asteroids that are Mario World style, scattered between the orbits of the moons. So the campaign is taking place in what Keith Baker would call cyberspace, and we're going to be running a Bastion campaign. And a Bastion campaign is when you have a community or a guild or an army or some sort of organization larger than yourself in a Dominion style of play. Each week is a Bastion turn, and depending on what decisions the team makes for the community and their adventures, different events will have a randomly progressing table of events that are occurring to the community. And there's 6 different asteroids in this airstream that are part of this of the home community for the characters, and it's their job to defend it with a Dwarven Citadel and mecha like Gundams that they can pilot to fight kaiju and space pirates. And if they want to deal with something at the 5-foot scale and dungeons and stuff like that, they'll have the opportunity to do that as well if they want. So I'm hoping to have a wide array of different types of adventures, but one of the things that we're playtesting specifically in this campaign is the kaiju mecha combat mechanics to make sure that they're scaling properly and feels right. So there will be maybe like 50% combat, like 50% kaiju combat is what I would intend. And then the other mechanic that we are playtesting is the Bastion mechanics. I've been running a Bastion campaign with my other Eberron Spelljammer team on Wednesdays for the past year now. Geez, yeah, it's been over a year now that we've been running that campaign, and that's been a whole lot of fun. And so I know the Bastion system works, but now I want to integrate these kaiju mecha combat mechanics into the Spelljammer document that we've already created. So for that reference, here's the Spelljammer combat and exploration document on the DMsGuild. It has an extensive free preview that anyone is welcome to read along that we're going to have in the book. I'm just going to be using my downloaded version so it doesn't have watermarks all over it, but we're mostly concerned about building ships this session. So we're going to build a ship, and beyond that, we're going to build a bastion inside of the Dwarven Citadel that the characters will have command of as a Spelljammer campaign. So this is our Kaiju and Constructs. We already showed you that one. Murph. Windows everywhere, so this is the campaign workbench that we're looking at here, where we're going to be doing all of our work in today, all of our stats and stuff for building things. We have the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document on the DMsGuild. that we have built to be able to provide all the mechanics to make them. And on top of that, hey, what's going on, Steve? It's good to see you, my guy. And then on top of that, we have the Kaiju, the playtest Kaiju mechanics. No, that's the Subclasses book, which are available to players. But I need to change the title of this. I keep forgetting to. It's the Spelljammer Kaiju and Construct work in progress that we're going to eventually build into a small, like maybe 15, 20 page supplement. And then the final piece of the equation, I'll put this up here in our open documents section here. And then the final piece of the equation is the Bastion Campaign work in progress. And we'll be using this today when we build a Dwarven Citadel, as this has all the mechanics for the alternate point by Bastion system that we've been developing for over a year now. And it's feeling really good. I just want to test it with a completely independent. We have one group that's been running a Bastion campaign. Now I want to use this on another team that's separate to see how it chooses for them and if it feels good, both as a DM to run it and to be able to continuing my own education of utilizing the system in running a campaign with another group, as well as for the group to be able to engage with the content, to make decisions about how they want to proceed through each Bastion turn from level 5, where we'll start at 2nd rank Bastion, up to 13th level, which will be a 4th rank Bastion. So maybe we'll take it to 14th or 15th level, just so they have a little bit of time to play at the 4th rank, 4th out of 5 ranks. So when we build our Dwarven Citadel, we'll assign points to it, and then we'll take those points and we'll divide them into resources, or into facilities and resources that the Dwarven Citadel can use, along with, like, for instance, for sure, a mecha hangar where they can build and repair and store mecha for combat when they're not in use. They'll fly out the Zardo's mouth or whatever. So that's a work in progress that we are working on. And so those are a lot of different components. And I'll just finish up ranting here real quick and say, if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. I do artwork for these books Monday through Friday in the morning. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights, as well as Saturday mornings, I do design streams like this. And typically, I'm between playtesting right now. We're building new tools for more playtesting. So I'm between playtests right now. When our playtesting begins, I'll either lose Monday, Thursday, or Saturday. Those are my 3 large blocks of time that I can spend on doing stuff. So right now I'm streaming 3 times a week because I'm between playtests. But so what we want to do is, this is the cluster that the team defends. This is a 20 by 20 square. So each square here, the full square is 10,000 miles. Divided into 20 squares, that's 500 miles per square. 500 miles is the distance that this is the speed that we've reduced Spelljammers to for the sake of this campaign. They can do 10,000 miles per day or 500 miles per hour, roughly. So if we started here, by the end of day 1, we'd be into the next cube, into the next square. On the hour-by-hour basis, we can maneuver from square to square. Like, if I wanted to pass through the poison sea here and have everyone be poisoned and at disadvantage in all our D20 tests while we're in this goop, we could shortcut from here to here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. But if I want to stay out of the poison, I'm going to have to go the long route. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just a little bit longer. So the team's job is to protect this cluster of asteroid communities from pirates, and like Frisia up here is the plane of cold in Eberron, and so the moon, I forget the name of the moon, but it kicks right through, like the moon is literally, its orbit is right over here in this, right here. So when the moon comes by, it's only like maybe 12,000, 10,000 miles away from where the community is at. And the last time the moon came through, it left a horde of ice elementals here that are causing the region to become colder. So we were talking about this last time, it's impacting the crop production for community number 1, 2, and 3. So there's a migration happening from 1, 2, and 3 into 4, 5, and 6. So we're seeing this movement. So we have these ice elementals here that maybe unwittingly are making the environment hostile. They're going to have to get dealt with if it gets any worse. There's pirates upstream over here. There's Furnia, which is the fire elemental plane that crosses through here, and it could deposit fire elementals anytime along this airstream, and that would just end up causing a bunch of fire elementals to probably sweep upstream and end up in the community here. It's just that when we look at here, there's no it quickly recedes into poison often here, and elementals don't breathe, so they may or may not care about the poison. If they do, they'll find a way out of it, probably finding the characters. Pirates are here. The Unseelie Court is over here. They have an enclave here from when their moon passed by, and they took the opportunity to jump ship there. We haven't developed yet, but there's a friendly community here, and another friendly community. Thank you. Another friendly community here, and this is, I believe we're going to make that a Droam community that'll be hostile. It's not Lazaran. These are Lazaran pirates. This is Unseelie Court, and this is Droam, which is assumed to be hostile. It's not an ally, but any of these things the team could decide to ally with them. But it's going to take 1 day per square at this scale for them to travel from where their home is, right here. It'll take 1, 2, 3. It takes 4 days to get to where the Pirates of the Lazar nest, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 days to get to the nearest allied nation that they had trade with in the past. But now that the Lazar pirates in there, trade's cut off. The Lazars are blockading any kind of trade, which could cause trouble because we're having a cold snap we don't expect to have here, which is killing our crops, and we're struggling to get food. Being able to get an injection of food from our airstream neighbors, that would be super useful, but we'd have to deal with Lazaran pirates to do it. And it'll take 2 Bastion turns for us to go there, figure out, and then another 1 Bastion to get there, figure it out, and another Bastion turn to come back. So that would be a long time that the characters are off roaming the airstreams, potentially getting into fights with monsters and pirates and rogue nations and stuff like that. So, but we've developed community 4, 5, and 6. We still have community 1, 2, and 3 to attend to, but that's not what I want to focus on today. I want to focus on creating the Dwarven Citadel. So, a Spelljammer ship using the Spelljammer combat and exploration mechanics that we developed. A major helm, which is a 4,000 gold investment. Can power a craft up to 500 feet in size. And looking at our map, at our ships here, like the Hammerhead ship and the Squid ship are the largest ships at 250 feet. A Night Spider is only 200 feet. A Star Moth is 200 feet. A Nautiloid is also 200 feet. Like a Scorpion ship is only 100 feet. A Tortoise is only 100 feet. There's a Beholder ship is only 100 feet, though it's incredibly powerful. So we have these different scales, and we have fighter craft, and a Warbird is 50 feet in size. A Spiderling is 40 feet in size, down to an Arrow, which is 15 feet in size. So we have these different size ships, and we have a construction cost based on whether it's a vessel at the 50-foot scale or a fighter craft at the 5-foot scale. Hey, what's up, Adams? Yes. Spelljammers are awesome. I love Spelljammer. I picked up the original box set back in, what was it? 89? I think? Yeah, 1989. I was like 14, and that and Planescape became just the default, the bee's knees to run a campaign in. It's like, oh, you want to do Dragonlance? Maybe we could do Spelljammer instead and fight stuff in space. It was fun. Good. I'm glad the music's coming through. Glad to hear it. My sound balance was off, so if it ever disappears, ask and I'll try to fix it. But okay, so we've got vessels, and a vessel can be up to 500 feet in size, and a fighter craft can only be up to 50 feet in size. A fighter craft, a minor helm, which is only a $400 uncommon magic item, can power a fighter craft at 50 feet in size, but your speed is slower than what a full vessel is. A full vessel using a spelljamming helm could be anywhere from 10 feet to 500 feet in size. But when you install a major helm, 4,000 gold investment, a rare magic item, that becomes you've got the normal spelljamming speed of 100 million miles per day, or up to 10,000 miles per round, which is huge compared to the orbit of Eberron that we're dealing with. So there's each square. This is an accurate map of the orbit of Eberron, with each concentric circle here being one of the orbits of the 12 moons that encircle Eberron. And at the 10,000 miles scale, this is accurate. It was 22 squares, 220,000 miles is the furthest moon. And a spelljamming ship using the normal spelljammer rules can go 10,000 miles per round. So it would only take 2 minutes for us to get from Eberron to the edge of the moons, and that wouldn't make for a very difficult. Well, what it would do was it would expand the scope of the game so much that it would be difficult for me to focus in on specific communities. So instead, for this campaign, we decided to slow the speed for all helms to be at most 10,000 miles per day, which is roughly 500 miles per hour. So each square being 500 miles. We talked about this earlier. Moving from asteroid community to asteroid community is a commitment of time, and if there's things happening at more than one location, you'll hear about it, but you might not necessarily be able to do anything about it. So it's kind of got that XCOM style of gameplay, where there's multiple things going on the world map. This is our world map, and once the characters get this place under control, they could think about spanning out to this world map, where they're Mario World style maneuvering from from asteroid cluster to asteroid cluster in the fresh air zones, these airstreams that are fresh air. They can move between these on a daily basis to be able to get to different locations and deal with different NPC factions and nations and stuff. So the Dwarven Citadel is the sheriff as well as supply caravan that moves supplies between the different asteroid communities under the team's care. So we know the maximum size that a spelljamming helm is going to be able to move is 500 feet. So let's make I bet that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Too much. There we go. So we're just going to start building out our Dwarven Citadel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you. The largest space. I'm going to do it like this. We're going to go. Yeah, let's keep it fairly central on the page. So we're going to build basically the structure of it, and then we're going to go into the Bastion Campaign document. And look, we're on the right page already. That's awesome. The amount of space and hirelings. A Bastion requires a minimum space and number of hirelings to operate efficiently. Similarly, each facility requires a minimum amount of space and a minimum number of hirelings to operate as determined by the rank of the facility. So the amount of space and number of hirelings, that's not necessarily a good intro, but this is just a work in progress. The amount of space and number of hirelings a Bastion and each facility requires is determined by its rank, as listed on the table below. So just to have we're going to have a second rank Bastion in our Dwarven Citadel. We know a second rank Bastion is going to have anywhere from 11 to 20 points. So I think let's actually start workshopping this over here. I'm going to just freehand this stuff, just do some writing as we go about this. So we're going to go Citadel. Second rank. 1d6. It's 2 plus D is the modifier. Second rank is a +2 bonus to our ability checks. and then the die is going to be whatever the 2d. It's 2 plus d6 is our default modifier. And I think what I want to do is I want to give them a bastion point each level. Actually, scratch that. They're going to go. So the campaign is going to run from level 5 to probably 5 to 14. I think is probably what we're going to end up doing. And the goal is to have one campaign each month, or rather, to gain one level each month, each weekend, each day that we decide to run the campaign. We'll have 4 sessions to be able to complete one mission, to have one Bastion week. So the Bastion week, we'll start the Bastion week with events that are happening and the different challenges that the communities as a collective are facing. The team then decides which mission they want to pursue, and then they perform that mission. And in the meantime, they make ability checks as the Bastion to resolve all the other complications and events that they can't personally attend to right now. So if there's 3 different types of kaiju attacking different communities, they can go pick one and battle that kaiju fight. And the other 2, the community's going to have to hold out on their own until the team can get to them. So that'll allow them to use the warfare and siege mechanics that we have in the Bastion campaign system for them to be able to resolve the conflict with the kaiju in a single die roll. And while they're focusing their adventure on fighting kaiju over here, or cleaning monsters out of an asteroid that we want to mine over there, or space pirates are lurking in the poison sea just beyond our shore. Maybe we want to go out there and try to push them away before they find a place to attack inside of our community. The ice elementals could suddenly become uppity, and now we have to go fight colossal ice monsters. There'll be a number of different things that could happen that's going to grab the character's attention, and the players will decide which of these options, kind of like just like a notice board, which of these things seems the coolest, and I'll be able to just run with whichever one they want and just throw them into a battle or set them up for scouting or however it is that they want to deal with the scenario. We're just going to make an adventure out of it. And we'll have 4 sessions. My sessions are typically 3 to 4 hours long. So they'll have 4 sessions, assuming that we stay on course and show up every week with dedication. We'll have a month, 4 weeks, 12 hours to run a single adventure. And then at the end of that 12-hour block, in that month, we'll have done an adventure, and then the next Bastion turn begins, and we have 4 weeks to complete that Bastion turn, and then we have our second week. So the idea, and we're going to have an accelerated campaign because it is just playtesting. So at 5th level, we're going to do this, and then we're going to gain a level, and we're going to get the 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. I ran out of space, so etc. And so if we're going to, and every time, so what I want them to do is they're going to start at 2nd rank with their Bastion, and then I want them to accumulate enough points to get 3rd rank by 9th level. So, and then I want them to get to, I have to deal with, etc. I want them to get to, they'll be 2nd rank, they'll be 3rd rank. I want them to get to 4th rank by 13th level. So they need to have at least 11 points here. They have to have at least 21 points here, and they have to have at least 31 points here. So I don't want them to have to figure out how to get more Bastion points. I want to automatically feed them enough Bastion points each level so that when they hit level 9 and 13, they'll automatically be able to upgrade their Bastion. And because the rank of their Bastion is going to determine what kind of machines they can build, what kind of magic items they can empower, what kind of facilities they can get. Like at 9th level, they can get a teleportation circle, for instance. So like once they have that, they can potentially have a much further reach without having to eat a week. They could potentially hop to the neighboring community if they have a teleportation set up, so that you guys can start, so the scope of the campaign can expand. If Droam, for instance, offers a teleportation to connect with you through trade, now you can go to Droam when you want. So if something comes up involving Droam, you can teleport there and have your Bastion turn in Droam, while home is dealing with all the threats that you're not currently dealing with. So that can expand the scope of the campaign again. So if I want them to have... So I'm just kind of mutting through stuff here with you guys. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to drop it down here. I'm going to make another one of these, because that's going to be the front. This will be the side. And this will be overhead. The first overhead. And as we go along, we'll see how large the different facilities need to be, and then determine where those facilities are best placed, and then basically build. I don't know what the hell's going on with my mouse, but something weird's going on with my mouse. Thank you for your cooperation. Let's take this and this, shift them over a square, and let's take this and break this one out. There we go. And then scoot you over a square. Hey, look at that. Equal spacing. You gotta love it. Okay, so if I'm going to get us, we'll have 11 points here. We'll have 21 points here. We'll have 31 points here. And if the team can find a way to accumulate more Bastion points, because typically you either have to, if you get a big haul, like for instance, if they captured a squid ship's worth 80,000 gold. And so that puts it in the very rare, that puts it actually in the legendary category of wealth. So hold on, let's go take a look real quick at the costs. Where am I at? I feel like I'm missing something. 1, 2, 3, that's good to me. And, oh, there we go. I need to separate this. Let's, let me get rid of that. Here and here. Bastion Campaign. Here we go. Bastion Campaigns. Bastion Campaigns. Let's go down to the bottom of the document and look at pricing. Or not bottom of the document, but just into the general orders. So if we're crafting a ship itself isn't magical. The helm makes it magical. So a ship, first rank, a bastion or a facility inside of the bastion that can create things. Like for instance, a workshop can create a ship. And depending on what material is made, a smithy could create a ship if it's made out of metal. A stonemason could make a ship if it's made out of stone. A carpenter could make a ship if it's made out of wood. It just depends on what the material is going to determine what type of facilities can create that object. But regardless of what is making it from whatever material, the cost of the item is what determines, your rank determines how valuable of an item you can create, what the difficulty of creating that item is based on its cost, and then the duration of time required to make that ship based on its value. So uncommon, this also, if you look down here in empowering, when we're making magic items, it's the same thing. These are the costs of magic items in the player's handbook, in the DMG. And these are the costs of temporary items. Hey, what's up? Oh, nothing new. Right on, guys. So common magic items are up to 100 gold pieces of value. Uncommon items are 400 gold pieces of value. Actually, it's 100 gold pieces. It could be 100 gold pieces or more, I believe is how I have it framed. Uncommon is 400. Rare is, but it basically rounds off to 100, 400, 4,000, 40,000, and then legendary is 200,000, and could be more. But this is the assumed value for magic items when you create them. So an a minor spelljamming helm, which can operate a ship up to 50 feet in size, is 400 gold. A rare helm, which is the major helm, which can drive a ship up to 500 feet in size, it's 4,000 gold in value. So our team is starting off with a second rank Bastion. So if they have a second rank workshop in the Bastion, they can create fighter craft, or in this instance, they can create mecha and like warframes and stuff like that, like Gundam and shit. but they have to remain within 400 gold pieces of value. So if we look at the spelljamming document at the cost of things, Fightercraft have a cost of 100 gold pieces per 5 feet of size, a space they occupy. Vessels that can be up to 500 feet in size cost a minimum of 1,000 gold pieces per 5 feet of size, because they're a much larger scale. They're going to have a lot more mass, a lot more architecture going into them. They're 10 times the cost is basically how we decided to do that. Sticking with our scaling from up to 50 feet, up to 500 feet, up to 100 gold per 5 feet, up to 1,000 gold per 5 feet. So if we look at our pre-constructed table, like we were talking about a captured squid ship. A captured squid ship is 50,000 gold. So looking at our price matrix, that is more than 40,000. So to make something as large as a squid ship, we would have to have a rank 5 workshop. Or if we had, for instance, where'd it go? There we go. If we had a 3rd rank workshop and the squid is 50,000 gold, we could attempt to continue making one week at a time, and it would take 13 weeks for us to make it at 3rd rank. And the scope of the campaign is going to be about 13 weeks. So by the time we get towards the end of the campaign, they would be able to they would have been able to create their own squid ship. It'd be more efficient for them to find somebody that they could get a squid ship from as part of it, performing a mission or fulfilling an order of like paying for one somehow or swapping for it. So it would take a while, but at higher levels, they could certainly build them. Ironically, the same one season is 13 weeks. It's the same amount of time that they would have to have spent a legendary making one, but they would only have to roll once, because they are capable of creating something this long with this large of a duration at this difficulty level. If I'm going to make a 50,000 gold squid ship, I'm not doing 20 DC per week at the 3rd rank. I'm doing DC 30 because the actual value of it is 50k, which is above the cost of what a very rare item would be. So that puts it into the legendary category. So right now the team is going to be able to build uncommon, and by the time they get to 3rd level, or 3rd rank at 9th level, they'll be able to build rare, which means that they'll be able to make significantly larger mecha, like up to 100 feet in size potentially. Nope, that's not right. What's the largest size vessel what's the smallest vessel they can make at rare 4,000 gold? I don't think they can make a vessel at none of the vessels are small enough. But they could make 50-foot, like they could make 50-foot mecha at that point. Like if they wanted to make them out of metal, it would only be 2,000 gold. So at 3rd rank, they'd be able to make a new mecha, a completely new mecha from scratch. It would take them a month to do it, but they could do it. If they had multiple workshops working on it at the same time together, they could collapse that down to 2 weeks. So I think I'm going to set them up with 2 workshops and 2 hangar bays. Let's look at what's the size of these things supposed to be? Bastion rank. I'll go down here to the facilities. A space, so vast, 100 squares. Minimum number of squares is 100 for a vast facility. And if we're building 20-foot mecha, we're going to have more than a single 50 by 50. But having a workshop be 50 by 50 will eventually allow us to make mecha up to 50 by 50 feet in size. So we're going to probably end up wanting to have multiple hangar bays and workshops built inside of our Bastion. So I'm just kind of futzing around with stuff. So let's just kind of futz around. I unironically enjoy the Zardos theme for Dwarven Citadels. So I am legitimately going to stay with the Zardos model. Whatever, it doesn't have to be perfect, Ernie. Dwarven Citadels are the best. They're just giant floating heads. I mean, they could be a hammer. They could be a shield. You know, they could just be like a giant arrow. It could be anything that you want. But I think there's something intimidating about a colossal, just a colossal 500-foot dwarven head coming at you. Mecha coming out of its face. So this is 10 by 10. That's 500 feet. That means each square is 50 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have a hangar bay 50 feet by 100 feet wide. That is certainly large enough for us to, if I don't intend for Mecha to be bigger than 50 feet for this campaign. Do that, some of that. Let's do like that. There. Like that. Give him a giant axe blade down the head so he has a massive slashing ram. How hardcore is that? Oops. There, we're going to fade this down. Yep. Let's build a face, hold on. This, and we'll have his nose bend down like that. Put our hanger here. these here. Like that. This. I don't know why I'm doing it so difficult. Just do it like this, Kearney. Copy, paste, free transform. Flip horizontal. Yeah, I'm gonna extend it out the back a bit. Merge down. I've never illustrated an entire or mapped an entire Dwarven Citadel before. I don't know if entire is the right adjective for what we're doing here. We're gonna build enough of a Dwarven Citadel to make it function, and I suspect over time we'll probably build it out completely. Maybe I'll release the map on DMsGuild once we finish it. That'd be fun. I'll post it on my Patreon as well. Oops. Cut, paste. There we go. Let's merge that down. This is where our hangar bay is at. So I want to build a curve like this to there. And then yeah, that feels right. Like that. Yeah, it feels right. Need to thicken this. Make that a So there's these ships have normal ships. If we're looking at a typical craft, right? A typical ship is going to be made to look like a fish, a bird, an insect, maybe just a regular stupid boat. But all these ships that have all these appendages and mandibles and stuff, these are weapons. Like you can see here, these mandibles, that's labeled C. That's a grappling claw. All of these legs, these are number 2. 1, 2, 2, 2. These are all 2s. So the number 2 is a piercing ram. So each of these giant spears are, as you can see here at the 50-foot scale, these are like 50-foot long spears that are impaling ships in physical combat. But when you're a floating head, you don't have appendages like that unless you wanted to be really zany and have a bunch of spider feet coming out the bottom of your of your head, so it's crawling around like Fallout or some shit. Undo. No. So the only melee weapon that we realistically have for this dwarven bloke is we built into their hat. It's now just basically a massive battle axe blade that's 50, 100, 150, 200, 250 feet in size. So it's gonna deal big damage when it hits something. It'll do, if I recall correctly, hold on. Let's look at it. I think it's 12D, I think it's 1d12 times 10. Let's go to our table of contents and then go down to, again, this is linked in the description down below. You can check this out online. If you want to buy it and support me, God bless you. But I want you to be able to see the stuff that we're doing here. So siege weapons, siege melee weapons, ship melee weapon damage. Okay, so space occupied. A 500-foot Dwarven Citadel is a 10 by 10 space at the 50-foot scale. So it occupies 10 squares at the 50-foot scale, which means as a siege weapon, which is vessel sized, the melee weapon does d12 times 10 slashing damage. If it was 50 feet in size, it would deal 5d8 slashing damage, which unironically is the same as d4 times 10 damage. So if a mounted weapon, a mounted melee weapon on a ship that occupies 10 squares at the 5-foot scale is 50 feet in size, that 50 feet in size does 5d8 damage per attack when it were to hit with like this. If this was a 50-foot fighter craft, this dwarf would be headbutting you for 5d8 damage every time it hits. And if it was charging when it did it, it'd be triple damage. At the 50-foot scale, so if you're now a vessel anywhere from 50 to 500 feet in size, one space occupied does d4 times 10, which is another way of saying 5d8. 5d8 is when you're 50 feet in size at the mounted scale, or if you're 50 feet or larger at the vessel scale of the 50-foot squares, you're now d4 times 10, d6, d8, d10, and eventually it gets up to d12 times 10 slashing damage. And if you're, say, a 13th level fighter piloting the ship, you get 3 melee attacks per round as a pilot. You could do 3d12 times 10 damage to your opponent's ship. And a Dwarven Citadel like this would have 1,000 hit points. Plus however many hit points the crew are willing to sacrifice to take damage on behalf of the old battle axe to potentially win the day. Because it's a lot easier, like, say, to heal yourself or to give yourself temporary hit points than it is to repair a ship. And that's one of the themes of this Spelljammer document, is that you can take damage for your ship, just like the mounted combatant feat allows you to take damage for your mount when you're running around on horseback. This basically treats your character as like wild shaping into a horse while also, riding the horse. You're basically riding yourself as a colossal sized wild shaped creature. Is kind of how the mechanics of this work. There. I feel like this should flare out a little bit more. Nope, I don't want it to flare out too much. I don't want it to get ahead of itself. Right, I'm going to go back. I erased that for no reason. So I'm going to add it back in. we can just curve it to, yeah, we can just curve it like this. Okay, so we have this bearded motif going on. The interior of the vessel, basically like this. I'm just going to do some generalities. Again, each one of these squares is 50 feet. So this thing has stupid amounts of space available for it. So if we just go with this base layer here, this is what we're currently working on here. We have our hangar bay door here that slides open like a drawbridge. See how it has this curve? This is designed to do this. So it opens up. Zardo's mouth opens up and mecha fly out of it. And the hangar bay is, you can see here, it's 50 feet tall and 100 feet wide. So it's plenty big for 50-foot mecha to charge out 2x2. So this is where it starts. And assumedly, we're going to want to have mecha that are eventually 50 feet in size. We can't afford 50-foot mecha yet. But we'll get there. Well, that worked out. So that's our interior shell. That's the area that we have to work with. Like that. Let's say we have we can have a hangar. If we're going to have 50-foot mecha eventually, we're going to have space for at least 4 of them, and they occupy 50 by 50 foot space each. So this is the size that we need to have here. I think we can limit the hangar to this area. And then we can have, we'll build this out here. Workshop. I want to have 2 workshops so that, again, we can like build like a full-size mecha in like 2 weeks. Once we get to the scale of being able to operate that way. Let's see. So let's go look at our document here. Minimum squares, minimum hirelings. We have currently, we have a second rank Bastion, which means we can have facilities up to second rank. Bastion or facility, rank size, minimum squares needed, minimum hirelings available. So our Bastion itself, the actual Bastion is second rank. So that means we have to have at least 3 hirelings on hand just to make the ship do. Which makes sense, a pilot, a captain, and a navigator. But it also implies like facilities and stuff like that. Like toilets and cleaning and crap like that. So we'll probably add in a service crew or something. So we have to have at least, second rate Bastion needs at least 3 hirelings, just to. No, we're gonna frame that differently. Let's start making. Let's make a list. I love lists. Kaiju Bastion, Spelljammer, Eberron. Let's go down to, yeah, let's put the mecha up front. It's more, I think the mecha is going to be more fun than the communities. So we'll go bold here for communities, and we'll up this to communities. We'll do it like that. And then Dwarven Citadel. There. Second rank Bastion. 500 foot spell jamming vessel. Second rank Bastion. Oh, that's right. We were looking at point values. That's what we're looking at. So if we want to have 21 points from here, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. If we start with 13, we could get two per level automatically and hit 21 by level 9. I think that jives. So we'll start with 13 points. And then we'll get 15, 17, 19. It takes us to 21. We want to get to 31 from there. 23, 25, 27, 29. That's 2 points shy. 19, 21. How about 24? 26, 29, 31, and then 33. We'll do it like that. That's a fun progression. And if they can find a way to scoop up more points along the way, they're welcome to do so, and they can advance the rank of their Dwarven Citadel Bastion. They can advance that at a rate faster than the characters go up. I just want to guarantee that they're going to have enough points when they gain levels that by level 9 they'll have a third rank Bastion at level 13. They'll have a fourth rank Bastion. They're going to start with the second rank Bastion at level 5. A Bastion needs to have, for it to be a proper Bastion, it has to have a second rank Bastion, has to have at least 11 points, so we're going to put them at 13. That gives them some wiggle room. A third rank has to have at least 21, like we're showing there. And a fourth rank has to have at least 31, which we have here at 13th. And then 41 more points at 17th level for a fifth rank Bastion, which is going to be beyond the scope of the campaign. Yeah, so they're going to start with 13 points. And I'm going to just begin dealing. We're going to go with Mecha Hanger. Hanger. I'm going to give it another construct hanger. We're going to give you a bridge. And none of these can be above second rank because it's only a second rank. It's only a second rank Bastion. So none of the facilities can be more than the second rank. So we can't spend more than 2 points on any specific facility, but we can have multiple facilities. So like I can have more than one hangar. So like we're showing here, we ultimately want to have 4 hangars. That'd be 8 out of our 13 points. We don't need that yet. I think where we're going to start. Hold on. Let's go back to our money. Right now, the largest the largest expense we can have is, where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you are. Second rank. Bastion point value is 1,000 gold pieces each. I'm lost. Hold on. Give me what I want. What I really, really want. What I want. I want to hump. Oh no, that's right. It was the orders. It was crafting orders. Thank you. We are here. 400 gold is the maximum value that we can currently purchase. And 400 gold would give us a fighter craft, or in this case, a mecha. Where was our price guide? Gravity planes, air envelopes, ability checks, armor class, damage reduction. Here we go, cost. 400 gold. Per 5 feet, we could have a 10 foot by 10 foot or a large size metal or stone construct. We could have a 150 times 2 is 300, which is still 400. 3 by 3 would be 450, so that exceeds the value. I mean, we could have. That's true. We could have larger mecha. It just takes a while for you to build them. So let's give you. Yeah, let's start off with let's start off with 20-foot mecha, and if we make them out of light material, which could be bone, ceramic, crystal, wood, obviously. So we'll have low value framed mecha that we build, and then we can spend resources to armor plate them, so they have a higher armor class, but they don't actually have the mass and power of actual metal or stone. So at the 5 foot scale, 400 feet would be 20 by 20. So that's reasonable. Our team can build one of those. We could build one from scratch per workshop per week. So I know for a fact that I'm going to want to have 2 workshops. Workshop, commons. I'm gonna go with a bridge for 2 because we can do we can do scout. We can do surveillance through the bridge. The bridge will also, if we have to default combat to the NPC pilot, then he'll be making bastion checks as his attack roll. D20 plus 2 plus D6 is going to be the pilot die roll to hit the armor class, which is generally going to be somewhere between 16 and 20. So it'll be anywhere from a +3 to a +9 to the attack roll on top of the DC 20, on top of the 20-sided die. So it's going to be hit and miss. If the team is going to take the Dwarven Citadel into actual battle, a character commanding the Citadel would make a lot of sense. If they don't want to put the Citadel into the situation, or if the scale of battle is like navigating through asteroids and stuff like that, wouldn't allow for the Citadel to take action against whatever the foe is, that's why we would deploy fighter craft, or in this instance, war mecha, to fight as basically flying Gundam or Veritech. So if we, so yeah, we could have, we could have 20 feet for any one of these. 20 feet, 20 foot mecha would be 400 here, or up to 800 for a heavy. So it would take 1 week to make light material, and it would take 2 weeks to rebuild heavy material. We can always repair a mecha during the Bastion turn. They just get dropped into the workshop and they get repaired. So it'd just be like the order issued is repair, and if there's a mishap, then the amount of mishap determines how many hit points are still left to be repaired. But if we have casters on the crew, we can heal the mecha very, very quickly with mending cantrips as a ritual, or spending spell slots during downtime. If the team decides to take their Bastion turn doing downtime and leaving all the action resolutions to be ability checks through the bastions instead, then they could focus all their spell power and character action economy into ramping up the results to be able to repair stuff more efficiently over time. That feels right. So we want a bridge. We want a workshop. We're going to go with points, and then facility. We can technically jam 20-foot mecha. We can get 2 20-foot mecha into a 50-foot square. We could technically get 4 20-foot mecha into, because that would only occupy 40 by 40 out of the available 50. So for now, we only actually need 1 hangar. And so I could put this down as like a line. We'll go with this 2 hangar for now. H2. H2 in case they decide they want to upgrade their mecha. And I'll go with Workshop 2 and Workshop 2. A second rank that requires 3 people each. We need 3 people for the hangar, 3 people for this hangar, 3 hirelings for this workshop, 3 hirelings for this workshop. The bridge, I'm just going to use Ooh, good point. Storehouse, second rank, storehouse first rank. How we doing? 2 barracks. A second rank facility, a second rank bastion with barracks at second rank can have up to 100 mercenaries hired, which is going to be plenty for the type of weapon support, like for all the like trebuchet and catapults and ballista that can be on the fort, as well as cleaning crew and all the incidental hirelings that we bring in. A first rank barracks can have up to 10 hirelings. So second rank is like 5th level. That's like when you really start hitting your sweet spot. I want second rank for bridge, so we get the D20 plus 2 plus D6 instead of 1 plus D4. That wouldn't be any good. 2 workshops, that gives us the ability to craft multiple mecha, 1 metal mecha, and if both of them work on it together, we can get 1 metal mecha completed in a week, and if it's less, if it's like a wooden frame, like a lighter frame mecha, then we can get one per week per workshop. So we have the ability to rebuild and repair mecha very easily with this amount of points invested into it. It's a pretty hefty investment out of the 13 points that we have, but the theme of the campaign is mecha in general. So we want to have as many resources invested into that as we can. The bridge, again, second rank bridge, so that we get the best die roll for our piloting and combat stats that we can hope to get at this rank. So that, what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We're already at 12 points. So maybe I need to drop one of the construct hangars. We have enough space for 20-foot frames for now, so we can have one construct hangar. There. If we get bigger mecha, we're going to have more hangars because the mecha are going to be too big for the hangars. We're basically, each of these squares is 50 feet. So storage we have off to the sides, like so materials come in through the hangar and then off to the sides for storage bay here and there. Workshop in the core. I'm just working on one plane right now, but this thing is huge. I could have endless, I could easily fill this with all sorts of shit, like a whole enterprise worth of activities inside this thing. Ugh, well, I did that wrong. I'm gonna get rid of that. Excuse me. Why, I fixed my face. There we go. One, two, three. Maybe I should put the workshops off the side here. And just open up all this. Being able to open up the back, like in Battlestar Galactica, you had the run through. They would take off at the front, they'd land in the back. That's fun. So yeah, we're gonna have a fly through that we can potentially do. That means I'm going to have I want to have ballista stations set up here. Let's hollow this out. Ballista barrage. We can do 1, 2, 3. If I have each a single ballista does 1d4 times 10 damage. It has a crew of 3. If I set up a barrage of 3 ballista, they can fire as a group, dealing 3d4 times 10 damage per shot. But it takes 9 crew, and it becomes more and more difficult to have them act efficiently. The reload score for 3 ballistas is 6. And a 5th level character that's a second rank commander, second rank again, has a command die of d6. So the character is going to roll a d20 plus either 2, or if they take a feat, like charisma of 18 is a +4 or whatever, they can use their stat instead. But the default is their rank, which is their proficiency bonus -1. So to command this crew, they'd roll a d20 plus 2 plus d6 to hit with this barrage of weapons, or any ballista, honestly. But the more ballistas we add on, the higher the difficulty gets. So we could have a second rank crew, but we wouldn't be able to hire as many with the amount of points that we have invested. So we have to settle with first rank crew for now. And so we take the reload score of each, which is the number of people it takes to man the weapon, 3 minus their rank. So first rank, 3 minus rank equals 2. Plus 2 plus 2 means they have a reload score of 6. So when I make an attack with this barrage, all 3 of these ballistas, I can fire them all in one salvo, but I have to roll a 6 on the d6. to have them automatically reload their weapons and fire again. So if I have a 11th level fighter that's commanding a salvo of ballistas like this, if I'm 11th level, I'm 3rd rank, so it'd be a D20 plus 2 plus D8. On the D8, I would roll, if I roll a 6, 7, or 8 on the D8, I'll automatically reload the weapon. And if I'm successful, I can issue the order to fire all those weapons as an attack action or a bonus action. If I succeed, they automatically reload the weapons as part of the attack, so I can now use my second fighter attack in my attack action to order another salvo of weapons to fire. And if I roll 6, 7, or 8 on the D8 when I'm rolling my attack roll, if I get that 6, 7, or 8, not only am I likely to hit, but I also have my weapons reload again. And since I'm a 11th level fighter in this example, I've got 3 attacks as the attack action. I could then fire them again. But at any of these points, if I roll below a 6, then they don't automatically reload their weapons as part of the silo. I now have to spend an attack action, a bonus action, or a reaction for each weapon to have them reload. So if I attack with the full salvo and I fail the die roll, I could use my reaction. I could use my reaction to load this weapon. I could say use a second attack to reload this weapon. That would leave me with a bonus action and a final attack roll. So I could decide to fire both of these weapons for only 2d4 damage with a reload score of 4, or I could take that bonus action and chew through that and get all 3 weapons back with 1 attack left this turn. I could then issue another salvo of d4 times 10. And again, if I don't roll at least a 6 on my d8, I would then have to spend most of my next turn reloading those weapons to get that salvo back, or I could spend my reaction to reload 1 ballista and then fire it and only have to roll a 2 or better on a d8, most likely just being able to focus fire with that single ballista consistently doing d4 times 10 damage. Or I could gamble by having more weapons fire at the same time as a salvo together. So that's the basic mechanics there. So when I'm looking at this 50-foot area space that this square occupies, I can have 3 ballistas inside of that 50-foot space, because the ballista is a 10 by 10 space. I could easily fit like 1, 2, I could fit 9 ballista into a 50-foot square if I wanted to. But because of my character's levels of being a 5th level, they get a d6 die roll. They can't roll above a 6 on a d6. So having more than 3 ballistas in a salvo is a waste because they can't hit 6. Or they can at best roll a 6. So having a 4th ballista would take the reload score up to 8. They're guaranteed to fail. So that's not very optimal. So I'm limiting my salvos to 3 ballistas each right now. And I'm using ballistas because they're really good direct fire. They can hit within close range. Normal range for a ballista is 500 feet, and then they can fire up to a mile away. So I've got a lot of range on them, but the far range of up to a mile, that's a disadvantage. They have to be within 500 feet for me to be able to fire a ballista with just normal attack roll. That's also within range of my melee attack. The giant axe blade on his head that does d12 times 10 damage when that hits. So the pilot can be making melee attacks while salvos of ballistas are firing. So depending on the scale of threat, like if 3 hammerhead ships come in full of pirates that are wanting to raid one of our communities, that's going to be that's 15 squares worth of ship versus 10 squares worth of Dwarven Citadel that you have. You're at a disadvantage. Hopefully your team is able to pull things together and use your action economy and your ability checks and your class features and your abilities to be able to get the edge over these NPC fighters. Otherwise, that could be a risky battle. You might be intimidated by 3 hammerhead ships showing up to rock you. If you're operating within range of the community, they might have siege weapons that they can provide ground support to attack the ships alongside you. So you've got your Citadel plus the community. The community might be worth maybe 5 squares with a ship, or maybe only 3. We'll figure it out. But that's another thing that we'll have to build, the defenses for each community, because they each have a fortress. So they have defenses, and they can hit a mile away. So as long as the communities are staying close to the fortresses, they can be defended. But if they're too large, they're too scattered, it becomes a problem. So, yeah, building a fortress. So this is our lower level here. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. Beep. Plenty of room to grow here. Workshop here makes sense to be able to feed the weapons. Yeah, we're going to put workshop here. Workshop 2. Workshop 2. Hangar 2. We don't have a specific facility created for weapon salvos. We don't need to. We just need to have a space that we can put them, which we have. You can see this half space here, so we can have like 2 ballistas back here. And 2 ballistas here. And the rest of this area is just kind of open right now. So I feel kind of like filling this in until the team needs more space for more facilities. We can just leave that like that. It's a run through, a ramp, or a runway, basically. We can have we need 10 feet. We need a 10-foot space for each mercenary in our barracks. So if we're going to have, we should probably figure out how many we need. So we need 9 troops here. We need 9 here. We need 3 for the workshop, 3 for this workshop, 3 for this hangar. We need 6 for this back silo and this back silo. So far on this floor. Oh yeah, and we also have yeah, I do want this open. We're gonna go storage. I need 2 for storehouse. How are we looking? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Workshop, construct hangar, barracks, storehouse. And then we have +1 pocket of BP. The spare point that we have left over allows us to re-roll a die. It gives us a reroll. Let's see, construct hangar, barracks. We're gonna give free weaponry. We're just gonna equip it with weapons. However many we can reasonably have. The bridge has 3, which we come back here, which we don't have depicted yet. Let's see. Points, facility, crew. That's what we want to put here. Where'd my mouse go? That's why. What the hell is going on? Where the fuck did my mouse go? There it is. That was goofy. I'm gonna reduce the mecha hanger. Crew. We have 3 on the bridge. Pilot, nav, and captain. Workshop has 3. Workshop has 3. Mecha Hangar has 3. Barracks has 3. Storehouse has 3. And then weapons. Ballista. 3 times ballista. Battery. That requires 9 crew. 3 times ballista. Battery also requires 9. We have 2 times ballista battery. That's 6. 2 times ballista. Battery, also 6. How are we looking so far? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Number, type, crew, $18, $30. So we need 30 crew for the ballistas, and we need 18 just to make the Bastion work. Each hireling needs at least 10 feet worth of space of like commons area and barracks for them to have a space. They can wander the halls and stuff all they want, but actual barrack space, like for them to lay down and sleep and jumping jacks and shit like that, they have each of them has to have at least 10 by 10 space allocated to them. They could have bunk beds on top of each other occupying a 5 by 10 space, and then have 30 feet worth of desk space and carpet room and stuff like that. But however it boils down, that's the numbers that are required. So if we have 30 people that require 2 by 2 space, that's 60 by 60 spaces. That's a 300 by 300 foot area, which is a 100 foot by 100 foot area spread across 3 different floors. So knowing this, we can have 3 floors. We can have the hangar floor. We can have the weapons deck, and then we can have the bridge. Those are 3 reliable areas that we could have. Uh-oh. Perfect. Let's see. One, two. blade. So we'll have hanger. We have the hanger here. We got bridge here, and then we'll have like whatever weapons deck here. And we could potentially have something up here as well. But for now, we'll have this. Drop that down to here, and then we'll have a middle layer. 1, 2. About like that. About like that. Yeah, that feels right. Let's do that. Salvo. Salvo. Look, this is shittily done. Oh well. Brr. 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 Wrong layer. Down. Thank you. Whole world's gone crazy. This in, call this the helm. Helm 2. Yeah, I need 3 100 by 100 square space. So barracks part 1. Barracks 2 times 2. And fuck it, we'll put two levels of barracks here in the middle of it. Barracks 2 times 2 times 3. And we have weapon silos here. It makes sense that we would have down. Weapon silos out the back. Out the wazoo. So 3 barrage here, 3 barrage here, 3 barrage here, 3 barrage here. 3, 3, 2, 2. 9, 9, 9, 9, 6, 6, 6, 6. So we need 2 more barrages. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 54, 56, 66, 76, 84. Out of the eyes, of course, we'll have Eldritch Cannons. Require 1 each. So it shoots lightning, literally it shoots lightning from its eyes. That's awesome. And another silo here. 3, 9, 6. 3, 9, 6. That's going to be 8. That's another 20. Ouch. We're over capacity. So we're going to have 2 here. 2, 4, 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6. It's 1, 2, 8, 14. Takes us to 98. And then we'll have 1 times Eldritch Cannon, which only requires a crew of 1. 1 Eldritch Cannon. Eldritch Cannons operate off of cantrips. So if you are focusing on an Eldritch Cannon, you can fire it based on the rank, or rather based on your spell level, determines the amount of damage that the cantrip is going to do. 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 are our 5 ranks for dealing damage with cantrips. D4 times 10, D6 times 10, D8, D10, D12 times 10 at 17th level as your cantrip through the Eldritch Cannon, or and you can only fire. It requires a magic action to use that, so it eats your action. Or you could instead use a spell slot to cast it, so you could ramp the damage. First and second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth is D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. So a first or second spell slot doesn't really. Oh, I'm sorry. It's D8, it's D8, 2D8, 3D8, 4D8, 5D8 force damage for cantrips once per round. And then if you spend spell slots, first and second levels at D4, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, D4 times 10, D6, D8, D10, D12 times 10 with a 9 total spell slot. Or mana, 1 mana, 3 mana, 5 mana, 7 mana, 9 mana, if you're using the universal spell points that system that I incorporate. Double that if you're using the DMG. First level would be 2 points, 4 points, 6, 8, 10. There you go. So plan accordingly. Let's see. So we have our weapon array. That's a lot of fucking weapons. Crew. Let's do damage. And then reload. The reload score. Eldritch Cannon has a reload score of 1. Its damage is either going to be 2d8 because of the rank of the crew that we have. I'm sorry, no, we only have first rank crew. So it's 1d8 or 1d4 times 10. Similarly, 1d8 or 1d4 times. If the characters decide to operate an Eldritch Cannon, they're 5th level, so their cantrips will be doing 2d8s, and then they have up to 3rd level spell slots, which could do d6 times 10. These are just the defaults of the crew that they currently have. Crew 6, 2 ballistas. That's going to be 2d4 times 10, and it has a reload score of 4. (3d4) like we were talking about earlier with a salvo. Reload score is 6. Crew of 9 for a barrage of 3 ballistas and a battery. 10, and of course we can always fire these separately if we wanted to individually. But the team is capable of commanding a crew of 3 ballistas and a salvo. It can be done. That's a lot of weapons that they want to fire. It's a lot of weapons. How many weapon arrays do we have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's more crew than the ship can command on its own. A full salvo equals 10 d6. Sorry, the crew's only 4th. Crew d4, 10 d4 times 10 damage is the maximum that they do as a full salvo. And the reload score is 9. And that's assuming there's how many weapons? Sorry. Let's see. Up to 400 damage with a full salvo. Not bad. And each character can command different salvos. Full salvos, that is. So okay, that's the quick breakdown. So let's look at, let's see. We crew. Let's add these down here as a separate thing. Pilots, navigation, captain. Let's see, and then we have features for each of these. Let's see. Pilot and combat, Spelljammer, Dwarven, Citadel, pilot, Dwarven, Citadel, plus we can do research to scan for threats. Let's see, we've got the workshop, and what does the workshop do for us? So let's go to our workshop document, and we'll scroll down here. Storehouse, facility benefits. When issuing a craft order to create a non-magical item, which is the fighter craft that we're building, you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of the facility, which is second rank. That's really useful. Storehouse equals plus D6 to craft orders. When using a harvest order to acquire any type of materials, you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of the facility and trade. You can issue a basic trade order to have any type of materials, non-magical items, or plans of the item creation plans for item creation delivered to the Bastion. And since we, like for example, if we were to have construction plans for a magic item, because we're a second rank Bastion, it means that we can't acquire anything above uncommon rarity. Uncommon is second rank, and then rarity is third, very rare is fourth, legendary is fifth. Common is first. Craft orders plus harvest to craft and harvest orders plus can acquire materials, second rank. Barracks, up to 100 merc. Plus, what else does the barracks do? Oh, the barracks is going to give us a bonus. I believe. When issuing a defend order, protect the Bastion from attacks, you can roll an additional Bastion die. When issuing an attack order to siege or rival bastions or settlements, you can roll an additional Bastion die up to the value listed for the rank of the facility. So we have second rank Bastions. We have a second rank barracks. Plus, so we're going to get plus D6 to siege attack rolls. To command die. Yeah, up to 100 mercs first was probably correct. Anything else? Recruit. You can issue the recruit order to attract mercenaries to defend your bastion or to form an army to attack a rival bastion or settlements as detailed in the issuing order section below. Plus, can recruit an army up to 100. So we already have 98 people running around inside of this facility, working the weapons, the hangar bay, the workshop to repair and build mecha, the bridge, and the storehouse to manage goods. So it's very basic right now. The idea is that they have plenty of space. Like here's a large space that's being unused. All of this space is being unused. Here's the bridge. Sorry, instead of H, I should have that as... No, barracks. We'll have... I want to reword that then. I need to rename that. Can't be the bridge because we have barracks. Let's call it the helm. With the H that we gave it already. Super basic right now. Not a lot going on. It's basically a storage facility and a hangar bay with a lot of weapons. All it really is right now. As the team... gains levels and bastion points along with it, they can start adding additional facilities into their own bastion. We only have 3 floors depicted right now, but each square is 50 feet. We could literally have a floor in every square to start filling up large amounts of space if we wanted to. Or we could space them out, like every 100 feet is another level. So like we have one level here, 2, 3, and then we could have a 4th level here, or we could bunch a couple together in the middle to make little pockets, but we can dig out that space when we need it. Wherever the barracks are at, we assume that there's stairways. Wherever there's a facility, we assume there's stairs going up and down from it to lead to other floors throughout the Citadel. But this is all we need to depict for now inside the Citadel. If it gets breached and people attack, then we can zoom in and look at the area, but Right now, I'm feeling like it's not like all these empty spaces that we have. I think we could theoretically like hollow those out, like leave them as thick stone right now, and eventually just hollow them out if we wanted to as we went along. That would be fun. But yeah, that's our mecha. So, or rather, sorry, that's our battle state. That's our bastion, our fortress, our home base that we're operating from when we go to community. We're flying the Zardo's head to unleash hell upon our enemies if we encounter them, or to open our mouth and distribute mecha from the hangar bay. We have 20-foot mecha that we're working with right now. And depending on how many players we have show up at each session, will determine how many mecha we have on the board. They're 20-foot mecha, not 10-foot mecha. So that's... Mecha, Citadel. They can customize these things, but I'm just basically building a basic war mech for now. Oops. Okay, so let's go look at and again, all these documents are linked in the description down below. Let's bounce over to the kaiju, or the mecha. Weapon scales, size 20 foot, 240 feet for a longsword. Scale 20-foot scale. We're gonna do, okay, so at the 5-foot scale, like if we have a longsword, it's a D8 damage normally, right? So if we put it in a mech suit that's 10 feet in size, it's gonna do 2d8. If it was a glaive, it would be a two-handed weapon with a double the reach of its size. So if it's a 20-foot glaive, it would have a 40-foot reach, assuming we're operating at 20-foot squares if we're using 20-foot mecha. Or we can use 25-foot squares for 20-foot mecha, or even down to 10-foot mecha. It's kind of like a 3-foot halfling fits inside of a 5-foot square. A 10-foot mecha fits inside of a 25-foot square just as easily. So that would be 5x5 space at the 5-foot scale if we were to zoom in with little individuals running around on the battlefield with our 20-foot mecha tromping along and crushing them with shields and stomping with mallets and shit. But, so I digress. The scale that we have for them is 1d8 for a longsword, 2d8 at 10 feet, 3d8 at 15. 15 to 20 isn't a significant enough jump, but 15 to 30 certainly is, so now it becomes 48 damage. And then at the 50-foot scale, it becomes 5d8 damage as a sword. If it was a glaive, it'd be 5d10. And again, it would be a two-handed weapon with reach. If we were to scale up to 100-foot mecha, it would be 6d8, 78, 8d8, 98, and then at the 500-foot scale, it would be 10d8 damage per sword swing that we would deal. Which is effectively d8 times 10, which isn't as powerful as like the dwarven the dwarven blade, the dwarven axe head that we have here. But this axe head is 250 feet in size. It's going to do d12 times 10 damage, more than a 500-foot sword is doing. So, there you go. The 500-foot sword would be doing d8 times 10. The 500-foot axe that we're looking at here, it does d12 times 10. It's not that far off from what normal D&D math is at the 5-foot scale, just expanded up to ridiculous sizes. So this tracks pretty easily. The Spelljammer Combat Exploration document that's linked down below, the book that's on the DMsGuild, this is how it scales damage. D8 for 5 and 10, then 15, 20, it's 2d8. Excuse me. 3d8, 48, and then 5d8 at 50, and then it stays the same on the scale up here. D4, D8, D6, D8, D10, D12, blah. But this is only one type of damage. It's all the same damage, amount of damage, but it's just different types of damage depending on what type of weapon it is. With us using mecha and being able to using our brute suits, our ape suits, to be able to pick up massive weapons. Like if I were to have, if this guy had a glaive, that's a 10-foot blade that he's got there. It's gonna do 48 damage when he hits with it. 3d10 damage when he hits with it. If instead he went with a sword and board configuration, he's got his sword and he's got his shield here. The shield's going to increase your armor class just like a shield normally would. And we know that longsword is supposed to do a d8, so at the 20-foot scale, it's going to do 3d8 instead. And now you're doing if you have feats, like you have fighting, if you have fighting style feats that improves your sword and board work, then those get to apply while you're piloting your mecha. There you go. Thank you, Timely Timer. What time is it? 8:30? Yeah, it's just about time for me to be done. Okay, so it's going to take more time than I want to spend right now. It's going to take a little while to walk through it. So, but when we come back on, we'll be doing this again on Thursday. So like and subscribe if you're interested. But here's a number of powers that we can equip our ships with. The ship has a mana core battery that makes the thing go, but it also produces ongoing sources of magic that can then be channeled through devices that are built into the mecha to create effects. That's the narrative that goes on behind it. But essentially, all it really is a mech, a large size mecha style battle master, arcane archery sort of idea. This is all built off of the martial power system that we've been playtesting over the past year, and that we're currently doing updates on Saturday mornings during our Saturday morning live stream. So again, if you're interested in that, these are all things that exist inside of the martial powers book, but we've extracted them as if you use your workshop to configure your mecha every Bastion turn, each week of adventure, you can swap one of your battery powers, and as second rank you get battery equals 3 mana. It's your rank plus 1. And these mecha are second rank, which means they have a battery of 3 mana. So we can have 3, what's the word I'm looking for? We can have 3 modifications. Up to second rank, and none of them can use more than 2 mana. So we basically have an ongoing source of 3 mana that we can use. So like, and we'll get into it more, but just like, for example, if I wanted to use a phase attack, when you make an attack roll against a target with less than full cover, you can ignore the cover and roll with advantage. So that costs, that's 1 power that we can acquire at second rank, but it's going to cost 2 mana to use it. So if I have a mana battery of 3, then I can only use this once until once per turn, once per round. I'll get all my mana back at the beginning of my next turn. So for the round, like if I use evade damage, I could, when you succeed a dexterity saving throw to reduce damage, you take none or half if you fail. So that I would spend 2 of my mana. It only cost me 1 to pick this up out of 3, but it'll cost me 2 out of my 3 mana. I have modifications. I could use one of my modifications to gain an extra point of mana. So I'd have 4 mana that I can spend per turn. So I could do 2 of these second rank battery things. Like these are just exploits here. And then we get into maneuvers, which require actions or bonus actions to use. Exploits don't require any actions. They just modify things that you're doing. Maneuvers can be used as basically like as a magic action or a bonus action. And like vanish, you become invisible until the beginning of your next turn. That's, there you go. That costs you 2 points to do that. Third rank is out of range right now for us, and so is fourth rank. We have reactions here, like interpose. As a reaction to when an ally within reach of your melee attack takes damage from a source you can see, you can take any portion of the damage and gain resistance to it. The power is considered an opportunity attack. I don't need to mention that anymore. That's unnecessary. But that would cost us 1 to do that. So if one of our mecha was designated to be the defending tank, I could make sure I have interpose active on my vehicle so that I could spend 1 mana to interpose each round to protect somebody from taking damage. As a reaction to when a target within reach of your melee attack that you can see makes an attack against you, if they roll to hit, make an opportunity attack. Moving targets, third rank is out of range. Strikes, crippling strike. When you hit a target with an attack as a bonus action, you cripple the target's movement. The target must use the dash action to move before the beginning of his next turn. Otherwise, its speed is 0. That's a first rank strike we could do to shut down people's movement. Blinding strike. When you hit a target with an attack as a bonus action, it is blind until the beginning of your next turn. So you could blind a pilot by basically blasting them with blinding light when you hit. Thundering strike. When you hit a target with your attack as a bonus action, you can choose to trip the target or push it up to 2 squares directly away from you. And I say squares because the mecha that we're dealing with right now are 20-foot mecha. So if we're using the 20-foot square scale, they get pushed 2 squares, which would be 40 feet away from us. But that's only 2 squares away. Anyway, you get it. It's normal 5e combat, just with larger scale squares. Sustained powers, these are things that you turn on and they just stay on. So you can select these things and it consumes a point of mana for you to have it active. So you could have Blind Sense, you could have Rogue Stance, and you could have Weapon Resistance all active at the same time, and that'll completely eat your Badamanary to have it ongoing. And you can turn them on as bonus actions, and you can turn them off as a free action. So we got a whole stack of stuff here that we have built that we'll probably end up spending some more time on next week, rather on Thursday when we come back. Tonight's Monday. We'll be back on Thursday to do more of this stuff. So we're building out our mech, and of course the players will have the option of what kind of, what kind of mana tech they want to add into their mecha since they have them available. And depending if you're a spellcaster, if you're a martial, or if you're a hybrid, you might want to decide how you want to do that. You could use your own, if you have a mana pool, you could use your own mana pool to use any of these, but using your own mana instead of the battery, it costs an extra point. So a first rank rank modification only costs 1 mana off of the battery, but if you use your own mana, it will cost you 2 points of mana. So, because you have a lot more mana. If you have a mana supply, your mana is going to be a lot more. And this is assuming that you're going to be using martial powers, where you could sacrifice action, like your martial characters and your hybrids, they can sacrifice their action economy to generate additional mana. So like if I wanted to sacrifice my bonus action and my reaction, I could generate 2 points of mana. So I'd be able to do like, I don't know. Let's pick a strike. I could deal disarming. I could do shocking strike. It'll cost 1 mana for me to use it, and it'll take another point of mana because it's my own battery, not the mecha's battery. When you hit a target with your attack as a bonus action, the target cannot take reactions until the beginning of your next turn, which is really good. So anyway, there you go. That's where we're at right now. We're going to go ahead and pause this for today. When we come back, we're going to look at some different. We'll select a list of powers that we can give them initially, and if they want to expand the list, then they can gain plans through the trade order or through the research order to develop new options that you could then equip. Very much like an XCOM game. As we spend more time in working and empowering things, like that's what the workshop can do. Oh, that's what we were doing. We were fleshing out the different things that the... where was that? It should be here. Right, I wanted to flesh out all these details so I knew what we had. Features, houses, holds up to 10 squares of mecha. Plus D6 to craft and empower mecha. And then the workshop. Scroll down to the workshop. So the Citadel is just basically a war machine. But all these different communities that are within reach of you and you're protecting, they have other things like reliquaries and sacristies and guild halls and auction houses and all these other types of facilities that we're seeing here. But the war machine is very focused in its intent. It's a hangar bay, it's a workshop, it's weapon batteries, it's got a storehouse, and it's got a helm. That's basically all it has right now, until the team expands on what's within it, depending on what their characters are and what they need. They'll have to start acquiring points that they can then start allocating to specific facilities that they want inside of the Citadel to help their characters do what they want to do. And they'll have the option to do that over the course of the campaign. We have 2 workshops. That's it. So what does the workshop do for us? You can issue the craft order to create non-magical items. You can issue the empower order to create magical items. We can create constructs with this. We're already looking at that here. So second rank, it's only a DC 15 for us to build or repair our mecha. You have a number of golems when a golem is created. Yeah, there we go. Craft order recruit. Let's see. Craft mecha, empower magic items. There you go. It's a workshop. What do you want it to do? It makes shit. It's pretty basic. There we go. Okay, so that's our facilities. That's our setup. So far, so good. We're second rank, so we could technically spend a Bastion point our spare Bastion points on maintaining a poor lifestyle for a month, or we can risk it and roll our lifestyle each week. We get a total of 13 Bastion points right now, which we have spent, and 3 orders can be issued at a time. One is always going to be lifestyle, and then the 2 other orders are whatever we want. Like we'd have each workshop, for instance, working on expanding our repertoire of different modifications we can make to our mecha, for instance. Excuse me. Just got cold. It must be close to 9 o'clock. 9:40? Yeah, pretty close to 9 o'clock. All right, that's it for now. When we come back next week, we'll work on the initial modifications that will be available to the mecha and their costs, as well as we'll flesh out another one of the communities. We have 3 communities left to flesh out, so we'll flesh out one of those, and then we'll probably start looking at different type of kaiju that might make sense to have in range of this place, to start building a random table of kaiju attacks and fleshing out the stats for those. So yeah, if you guys thought this stuff was cool, Monday through Friday in the morning I do artwork for these types of books, and then obviously here on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday morning I develop the mechanics and all the stuff to make these viable supplements and products to put on DMsGuild or my Patreon, or maybe someday Kickstart. We'll see. But that's where we're at for now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out, and I will catch up with you guys tomorrow morning for more artwork. So see you guys then. Cheers.